Hello, hello, hello. We are back again. Peace and love to you, family. I am your host, Donald McKinney, and this is another episode of Out the Box Show. Sit back, relax, and let your mind be free. You're now rocking with Donnie, you know me. And First of all, I want to give a shout out to all my Virgos because we are in Virgo season. Been in Virgo season for about almost a week now. Yeah, I'm a Virgo, so you already know we extra. We gonna do it big. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta shout us out, put us on the map. You know what I'm saying? Give us some love. You know what I'm saying? All you other signs know what it is. Don't hate. But anyway, we have a great show today. Specifically, we're going to be talking about Labor Day and the history behind Labor Day. This is Labor Day weekend coming up as a fact. So I wanted to talk about that, and give you a little insight on the history of where it comes from. Also, we're going to be talking about black people and crypto investing. Got to give a shout out to my auntie and my sister, you know what I'm saying? Big ups to them, you know what I'm saying, with their short term and long term investing that they've been trying to put me on. So definitely going to be speaking on that. Thirdly, we're going to be talking about herbal medicines and the difference between pharmaceutical medicines, herbal medicines, specifically holistic and allopathic medicines and remedies, and should you do both, or I'm saying which one is best for our community, right? And lastly, passing on the heritage of the past, present, and moving to the future of different type of cultural recipes and foods and stuff like that. Big Mama used to put a little onion powder, you know what I'm saying, in her macaroni and cheese, and that was the secret of why it was so good. So we're going to talk about the importance of that and passing those type of traits and traditions down, right? So without further ado, let's get into it. Today's show and topic. First of all, this is Labor Day weekend, and I was wondering, like, Labor Day, like, why do we celebrate Labor Day? And specifically, what I found out was that Labor Day was created by the KKK. Yep, I said it. The Ku Klux Klan of America. That's where the history of Labor Day comes from. Specifically, it was created in 1882, and yeah, it was recognized as a federal holiday in 1894. But specifically, it was the created by a group called the Knights of Labor. Yeah. They had the first Grand Master, and I'm laughing because you can't make this stuff up. The first Grand Master of the Knights of Labor, which was basically the original labor union, which was called the Central Labor Union of the Knights of Labor, and it was based off of the American labor movement, which goes back to the 1700s, but specifically the Grand Master, his name was Terrence V. Powderly. Powder, baby. And what's crazy is that they did not want, they excluded Negro membership and women membership. So you had a bunch of Caucasian men that, at the turn of the century, in the 1800s, specifically about 1866, you had Caucasian men who banded together and said, you know what, we don't want to have black men and black women taking our jobs, so we're going to create our own personalized labor unions to basically keep these people out and build our own self up, right? Not knocking that. Everybody deserves a plan to build themselves up and so on and so forth. So I'm not knocking that, but the first parade, which was held in New York City in 1882, September the 5th. And specifically, the basis of the parade was, we want an 8-hour workday. We're tired of being worked, and we're tired of being slaved. This was what they were saying. They was tired of being slaves. The audacity. But anyway, yeah. You know, they didn't allow black people to be in it, and when they did, at the height of the Knights of Labor and their working union movement and stuff like that, they only, when they did start allowing Negro men to be a part of the society that they had and the unions that they created, they only allowed 10%. Out of millions of people, only 10% of these people were men of color or Negro people. You know what I'm saying? And specifically, and women as well. They vehemently, did not want women in or Negro people. So just thought that I should point that out because when we celebrate Labor Day, specifically, do we as melanated people understand what we're celebrating it for? A lot of times we take these holidays and we just say, oh, yeah, we're going to celebrate them. It's a national holiday. But when you look at the origins of what Labor Day weekend was created for, this is a Caucasian man holiday that said that he no longer wanted to work with or be slave to melanated people, and specifically it was him putting up his fist and saying, hey, you know what I'm saying, we are working, and this is the way we're going to work, from my opinion, right, from my understanding. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And to wrap this subject up, the 8-hour workday, that's where you get the 8-hour workday. As today, not a lot of people, we have 8-hour shifts, and anything over 8 hours, 5 days a week, 40 hours is considered overtime. But just want to let you know that, the KKK specifically banded together and created Labor Day. So as you're barbecuing and chilling with your family, just remember, this weekend off, this extra day that you get off, just remember that this day was created from Caucasian men who excluded black people and women and did not want us to have the same rights as them when it comes to our work, our unionization, and our rights and liberties, right? So especially thought that was interesting coming out of slavery, coming from, a time when melanated people and women's labor, but specifically melanated men and women, our labor was considered free for, businesses and corporations to be able to get free labor and free. Basically, we were the commodity, we were the money. Our time and effort and work was the money and the commodity for civilizations and specifically corporations. So I thought that that was kind of something that I wanted to point out, coming up on this Labor Day weekend. So with that being said, moving forward, my next topic I want to talk about is black people and crypto investments, short term, long term investments, and so on and so forth. Um, But before I get to that, I really want to speak on. Let me back it up. Before I get to that, I want to talk about the effects of slavery on Negro people in America specifically, because when you look at Labor Day and you look at what we're getting ready to celebrate and stuff like that, I want to talk about the effects and of how that affected melanated people. Because we're getting ready to celebrate that, but when you look at the effects of slavery, because a lot of us melanated people, we don't want to admit that we were in slavery, or we don't understand fully what slavery was for black people in America, Negro people in America. So I want to talk about that specifically from the context of mental health. Mental health is economic disparities and social mobility. And specifically mental health and how that affected our mental health and the effects of that on us today, right? Um, it destroyed our culture. Even though we still rise, it to every single occasion in America, it did destroy our culture. It did put us into a situation where a lot of us don't know who we are, and the ones that do know who we are, we almost have to fight to prove that we're the indigenous American. And some of us have African ancestry. A lot of us have African ancestry, I believe. But understanding the connection between the indigenous American and the African and how those two are connected, So it definitely destroyed our cultural history, but still we rise. Didn't erase it. They tried their damnedest, but it didn't erase it, you know what I'm saying? But it destroyed a lot of it. Um, and when it comes to economic disparities that the effects of slavery had on us, you know, The system that we live in does not like to see black men and women with strong families. Straight up, it doesn't like to see black men being the heads of their family, and black women being able to submit to strong black men, or black women being able to be independent and being able to have strong families, or strong black women that are able to produce for themselves, right? I mean, you have 300,000 women that were cut from the workforce in the past 4 months. And I specifically, know that that's something that was done strategically. I mean, going back to the labor movements and stuff like that, uh, they did not want women to be in the workforce, and they made sure that, they were not in the workforce for hundreds of years leading up to the, women's rights movement and so on and so forth. So, when you put those things together and you see the melanated man and the melanated woman with strong families being able to create generational wealth through education and employment opportunities, do you see the correlation with, our president and his DEI attack? Do you see the correlations of people being able to produce and provide for themselves from a social mobility standpoint? So go research what social mobility means and stuff like that, and you'll get a better understanding of, the effects of slavery, and how important it is for us as melanated people to know these things. So as we're moving forward, we can start understanding how we fix these problems and situations, and how to defend ourselves. So just wanted to put that little tidbit in there. You know, so moving forward, yes, black people in crypto investing, right? And shouts out to my aunt and my sister. They're really, really, really doing well, booming with their crypto investments and stuff like that, and telling me to get my investments up and stuff like that. And I have a little money in crypto and stuff like that, and different things that I've kind of spread into how I diversify my portfolio and stuff like that. But I'm not an actual day trader, which my auntie is, and my sister, she's getting into it as well and stuff like that. So the difference between, short-term investing and long-term investing, and what we as a people can do to start building, what I'm saying, our own crypto and our own investment when it comes to, financial technologies, right? They call it fintech, which I think is dope. But first of all, I want to point out a few black owned companies that I, recommend, that we do business with and we start looking into. That first company being called Shield, which is a security engine for Web3 platforms that protects investors from scams. So Shield is a black owned company, and they are really, really big, in Web3 platforms and stuff like that. So definitely go invest in them, buy stock in them, and learn, the business of financial technology, because NFT Now is another one company, that deals with Web3 and building platforms for us, as melanated people. And it's a melanated owned company, a black owned company. So we definitely want to invest with these people and stuff like that, and understand, the decentralization of how we create wealth, because I think that as we're moving, we won't be left behind because of companies like this and pioneers of people that are putting, the money where the mouth is, and specifically creating an what we call black wealth, right? So we definitely want to, be educated, and start looking towards being able to employ ourselves in the financial technology sectors, so the next generation will have that much more leg up, or skin in the game, so to say, right? We don't want to continue to be beholden to the same slave systems that have put us into this situation that we're in, right? And specifically the crypto world, there's decentralization and blockchain technology, financial technology, there's just a whole plethora of different technological advances that I feel that we can start using to give us a leg up and put us in the positions that we want to be. So definitely start looking into these things, and looking at ownership, authenticity, and being able to understand what exchange traded funds are, which is an ETF, what NFTs are, which are non-fungible tokens, understanding what blockchain is, what decentralization is, and getting these terms down and understanding how we grow our businesses and how we can connect and start growing and owning our own financial advancements and technologies. Hey, if you got to go take a course on how to better send emails, how to, better be computer literate, please do this because it's going to be important for us as we're moving forward in this climate of country that we live in called America KKKK, if you know what I'm saying. So moving forward, I want to talk about, well, on my next subject, I want to talk about herbal medicine versus pharmaceutical medicine and how that plays or and how that affects us as melanated people, right? We have a well, I want to talk about the our ancestors for 1 second here and how they. I know my grandmother. She had cod liver oil. She used to give me cod liver oil. I promise you. Going to school every morning, I would get a teaspoon of cod liver oil, and I'm telling y'all that stuff is nasty. If anybody of us who old school know what cod liver oil is, that stuff is nasty. But I promise you, I never got sick. I mean, never got flu, viruses, none of that. So I never got sick when I was younger. I like to think I'm a pretty healthy person, and I was a pretty healthy baby. But spoonful of cod liver oil and a peppermint, and get on up out that door. So these holistic remedies, ginseng roots, different roots, licorice root, you know, chamomile, mullein. What else is there? I mean, and there's so many different herbs and things that you can take that a lot of our pharmaceutical companies today and big businesses and big pharma have basically taken those idea of indigenous American, Negro American culture, hot toddies and things that we used to use, to get ourselves healthy and keep ourselves, from different sicknesses and stuff like that. I even seen a post where they were like saying that they use spider webbing to close up stitching, and that's something that indigenous Americans and black people used to do when you would get a bad cut or a certain type of cut and so on and so forth. So these holistic methods and things like that, I believe, are the best way for us. I'm saying, herbs, different type of spices and herbs and things like that. I think that that's a great way, and that's the way that we should be living our lives and stuff like that. But I want to first of all put out what allopathic medicine is and what the difference between allopathic and holistic is, first of all, if you don't know. Allopathic medicine leans on medical procedures and pharmaceuticals, okay? Whereas holistic medicine incorporates natural therapies that support the body's innate capability to heal itself. So, our bodies are amazing. God gave us these bodies and created us, and we have the abilities to heal ourselves a lot of time depending on what type of diet you have and the type of lifestyle that you live. So for me, I'm more of a holistic guy. I love herbal teas. I love taking herbal tinctures. Like, I love my herbs. I love my mushrooms, psychedelic and, the healing ones, if you get my point, hint, hint. And I think that, there is a time and a place for both, for specifically allopathic. There are benefits of allopathic medicine. I'm not going to say that there isn't, but you have to be the judge on that. Specifically when it's going to be the best time for you to take the allopathic medicine for yourself, and when it's going to be the best time. You should always have a holistic life. You should always be drinking herbs and eating herbs and herbal teas and different things like that. You should always be incorporating that stuff. So, because I believe that if you combine both, but lean on the holistic way of life, and allopathic being your aspirin. You got a headache, you want to take an aspirin, right? Okay, well, why not take some turmeric? Oh, Oh, yeah. Next time you get a headache, take you a shot glass and put some water in there and take you about a half a teaspoon of turmeric and paprika and put it in there and drink that and take you a shot of honey and tell me how it makes you feel in about 5 minutes. Take that headache right away. Just like that. So, I'm like I said, but I see that there are a lot of allopathic and pharmaceutical medicines that they kind of get their idea from the holistic form of living anyway. But holistic being you using your own body, and the more you live a holistic lifestyle, the better it's going to be for you to be able to not have to lean so much on the allopathic medicines, aka the pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. So, you know getting into my last topic and getting ready to jump out of here, I just want to put this last topic out there and stuff like that and end the show on this note. Heritage recipes from grandma. Grandma used to have them hot toddies. Grandma used to have all them good old recipes and stuff like that. Please write that stuff down. All those old recipes, all those old things that your mama and your foremothers, our fathers and forefathers, the way they used to. Uncle, I have an uncle that used to barbecue his tail off. I mean, my uncle Terry can make some barbecue, man. And rest in power, uncle. I miss you, man. Yeah, man, just really, really wanting to wish I could get those recipes and the way that he used to do things, right? So, definitely wanting to, write those recipes down. I mean, he'd make a burger, man, and had onions. I mean, I don't know how he made those burgers he used to make. Big old thick, juicy burgers, man. And I know I'm talking about eating holistic and being healthy. But hey, one step at a time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect. But yeah, heritage recipes and stuff like that from the past to the future to the present. Keep writing this stuff down. Keep up with your family values, those cooking tips your mom used to give you, granny used to give you, granddad and grandma. Write those things down. You know, we got holiday seasons getting ready to come up, over these next few months. So please, collect that information as much as possible and write that stuff down. Hold the line, is what we call it, around here is hold the line, which is preserve the knowledge of the ancestors, right? So with that being said, this has been another great episode. I enjoyed it, and hopefully you enjoy it. Please do me a favor, like and subscribe and share the content if you are rocking with it. Once again, my name is Donald McKinney. I was your host, and to the next time we meet, love, peace, and hair grease. We out here.